Welcome back to News Geelong on this Friday evening. We recently began a story about former Geelong Football Club player Tim Bluey McGrath and his continued battle against a dreadful disease of cancer. Tonight we continue the talk that Tom King had with our Bluey that shows the determination that this man is showing.
Your oncologist, Adam Broad, is one of the best. He's renowned, especially in Geelong, for the work he's done. Has he sat through the scenarios with you as where you are now in regards to, obviously, the treatment being put in abeyance?
Yeah, look, I initially went and saw him on my own one day, and at that stage I was still on the treatment, but he sort of had in the back of his mind that at some stage in the near future I'd come off the treatment because my blood, he sort of knew what was going to happen. So at that point in time I couldn't retain a lot of information that well. I really struggled with it, more so the fact of the interference with the treatment. So I took my wife Noreen back with me the second time because there's things I couldn't remember, and he sort of just relayed where we were at. We understood that at the time when we first went and saw him that although this treatment's all there is for this stage, there's no guarantee that it works. And we're well aware of that. That's not trying to be dramatic, that's just life, that's the way it is. Can they tell you it's going to be 5, 10, 20, 50% better chance? No, they can't. So to come off it was a bit, oh geez, when you're not having it, what's going on and all those sort of things. But he sort of, I mean, the question you asked, or what Noreen asked was, you know, well, okay, no treatment, we'll deal with that. What if we have the scan and there's more stuff there? What happens then? Well, you go into a different stage then. I'm not trying to preempt what's going to happen, but this is the scenario. You go into a different stage, and when you go into a different stage, there's different things you can use. So, in a way, you've sort of got to get worse to get better, sort of, at this point in time. And that's why, as you said before, limbo is the right word. So,
Stage 4's the next stage, isn't it? And that's as high. I think that's the highest stage you can go.
Yeah, it's not ideal, that's for sure. So we just hope we stay where we are. But we'll see what happens.
Family-wise, obviously you've got 3 girls. I think they're aged 10 to 15, and of course your lovely wife Noreen.
To their credit, their results this year, all their results at school were fantastic. So we're really pleased. They're resilient kids, and they ask questions, and we tell them pretty bluntly what's going on, and I think that sort of helps them, you know, physically and mentally to be able to deal with all that, for sure.
Got some of your resilience that you showed on the footy field.
Yeah, I think they got more than that, that's for sure.
It's been a whirlwind 6 months. I suppose there's probably been days where the days have dragged, especially during the treatment, but a lot's happened. Let's talk about some of the fundraisers. Obviously, K-Rock had their grand final luncheon. There was the auction of the Casey Bluey house, of course, where the funds were split between yourself and Casey Tatunji. The past players' night as well, where some of the greats of the game showed their support. Are you still overwhelmed by the amount of support you have been shown?
Yeah, look, and that's an appropriate word, overwhelming. It's uncomfortable. At times it really is, but knowing the fact that people have gone out of their way in their personal day-to-day lives and businesses and families and that sort of thing to want to help is very hard to accept sometimes, but they've all done it. And we would be in the same position if it was someone else that we knew. You know, we'd want to help and do all those things. So we're very appreciative of everyone. And to name names now probably wouldn't be right because I'll forget someone and they'll be offended. But we're going through some things now in the new year, getting names of people through Simon Farrell, who helped at the house, the past players' night, you know, the K-Rock event, all those sort of things. So personally, I can actually sit down and write them a thank you note. I mean, it's a small token, but I think personally when you write things, you can send people emails, but that's not real that personal. So we want to have our own touch to it, and hopefully down the track we can repay them in some way.
And I believe your niece has put a power of work in. She worked, I think, both on the K-Rock event and helped out with the past players event.
Yeah, she did. Sarah did a great job. So, in event planning, and that's her background. And luckily for her, through all this, she actually got a job at GMHBA in that role. So she's really pleased. And I think there were a few other offers from other businesses if she didn't get a job. So that was great for her, and for her to do that off her own bat was tremendous.
Thank you, Tom, and we continue to wish Tim McGrath all the very best with his determined manner and attitude. The local St Joseph's Cricket Club has a proud history in the Geelong Cricket Association that in 2014 sees it celebrate its 50th anniversary with a series of special events that are being organised, as our Croc media man Mitch Cleary reports.
Well, Barry, life member, and your name's up here many a time. What are your fondest memories from your times at St Joey's? Many years had spent up here on the hill.
Probably the two best memories are the two premierships in the first. The first one I played in, and the second one I was still on the committee involved. So they're the two biggest highlights, is winning two district first premierships. It's been a long time since the second one, so we need one next couple of years.
Take us back to the 60s and when it all first happened. Your name's up here as treasurer in the early days. What can you remember from those times and to getting the club formed?
Well, I can remember a brother Stewart, Kevin Stewart, was the instigator when he got a few of the parents together, my father and Vin Hassett, LG Pye, Les Matheson, Joe Diamond, got them together and put a bit of pressure on the GCA, and next thing we found out we're playing district cricket in the top division.
Just tell us about yourself, spending a bit of time at Geelong and then moving over to St Joseph's. I understand it's only a couple of games you've missed from St Joseph's being at Geelong.
At the start of the 64-65 year, Geelong went into the sub-district competition, and four of us from St Joseph's, that's myself, Peter Hassett, Vinny Nivarovich and one up, Billy King, were invited down to play in the sub-district. So we played in the seconds, the first couple of games, and because we went to school here, and then after a couple of games, the headmaster, the principal of the school, Brother O'Donoghue at the time, called us in his office and said, "What are you blokes playing cricket?" And we're down at Geelong Sub-District. Well, if you go to school here, you play for the college side. So from then on, we played at St Joey's. So that was it. So I missed the first two games, but haven't missed many others since then.
What can you tell us about the time from the 60s and up until the 2000s now? What have you seen as the changes? Obviously, plenty of personnel, new facilities, and now the pavilion's named after you. What have you seen as some of the big changes going through the club?
Well, the big changes, like just as everything has evolved, the change in personnel. These rooms didn't exist at the time. We were getting changed in an old white shed down the other end of the ground. We got these built in 79, I think, and then they were extended with the change rooms and everything in 98, 99, I think it was, or just around about 2000. So that's been a major difference, the facilities. Look, it's just we've become a lot more professional in what they do these days. I'm going to say the warm-ups these days take 45 minutes to an hour. If we had to do that back in the 60s, I think we would have got on the ground. But that's just a couple of things that have happened, yeah.
Thank you, Mitch. It's good to have you back on News Geelong for a guest appearance, and thank you to Barry McFarlane. I think he's probably been there the full 50 years with the St Joseph's Cricket Club. This is News Geelong as we head to a break and return with our sports report with Alex Tigani and our weather report after this.